Tony Doherty here with the king of the gym, Josh Lenartowicz, and we've got a bit of a story to tell, Josh. Obviously you're not doing the Olympia this year.
No.
Things kind of come unstuck, and I know a lot of people have been wondering, what happened and how did we get to here. And obviously you've had some health problems, which we needed to get right before we even tried to explain what's happened.
Yeah, so sorry it's taken so long. So make sure everything's good.
Yeah, look, it has been. It's been a tough time, and I know we wanted to do this together. And just to be honest with everyone and say what's happened and why we're here and how we got here. So let's backtrack a little bit.
Yep.
I'll set the scene. You're training for the Olympia. I think your best preparation ever.
Yep.
Come off your win in Spain, qualified. You've got 140 kilos or 300 and something pound. Quite vascular and getting in great shape. Really having a dream run.
Yeah, it was really good. Finally.
Yeah, finally. Right. And your head was in a good space too.
It was.
Well, externally.
Yeah.
But there was another problem with your head that we discovered. Josh had a kind of lump.
Yeah, it was tiny, and I started getting these headaches, and I never have headaches, and that was a concern for me. So I went and saw a GP, and they kind of just said take some aspirin and see a dermatologist. And I went home and couldn't sleep really, and I said no, something's definitely up. I went back and asked for a referral, and then it come back with a scan and said I had a tumour in my skull, and it was very rare. It's the rarest tumour you can get, and I didn't think it was in my family, but my middle brother, who doesn't train or anything like that, had it at 18 years old, and we didn't believe it was family related. So we were kind of like, oh, it doesn't really matter. It's sad and it happened to him, but yeah, it happened to me. So that was kind of where it started. And originally it was going to be a surgery, and I was kind of going to be out the next day and back to training lightly and
and this is how we understood it. So Josh had said, look, I've got this little lump and it's nothing. They've done the scans, it's not penetrated the skull, and they measured the thickness of the skull and all this kind of thing. And I still remember he said, I'm going to go in Tuesday morning. It's a couple of hours, and they'll wake me up, and I'll be back doing my cardio Thursday night. I'll see you at the gym.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, that was the plan.
That was the plan, and then things kind of went horribly wrong.
Yeah.
If you like, through no fault of your own or anyone's really. So, I got a call from Josh's wife. Well, I just texted her, I think, just to say how's Josh, everything up, the normal, and I knew something wasn't right. And then Liz went on to explain that when you were getting woken up from the surgery, to do your recovery, you had a brain seizure.
Yeah, I had a seizure, which is. Speaking to other neurosurgeons, it's common. It's not rare to happen. That's the thing. So it is rare that it happened to me in the circumstance that it wasn't. My neurosurgeon hasn't had a seizure in a long time, and he backtracks it to when I was younger and I had meningitis, and he said that kind of alters your brain a little bit, and it can be when it's under stress, you can have a seizure. So that happened, and then. Basically what happened in my head was I went in for the surgery, and then about 8 or 10 days later, I can't remember, it was 8 days later, I wake up and my wife's telling me that I've been in a coma for that whole time.
And this is what happened. So you've had a brain seizure, they don't know what to do because you're so big, you're like a gorilla lying there on a hospital bed, at your weight 140 kilos, they didn't know how much medication to give you, they didn't know how much paralysing agents to get you, whatever. So basically, I got the message that you're in a coma. So I went down to the hospital and they explained it all to me that basically because you'd had the brain seizure...
the next day they were going to wake me, So I had the brain seizure, the next day they were going to wake me with the team. And then because I was fasted for the surgery, they didn't believe they needed what was called a nasal gastric tube to wake me up. And because they didn't use one, all this liquid went into my lungs, and then to prevent me from passing away because you get pneumonia and you keep coughing and so on, they just put me asleep, so put me in a coma for the whole week to save me and to protect things. So
and then I think when they took the breathing tube out, you'd vomited and then it got back into your lungs, it got more complicated.
That's right.
So every couple of days, your wife Liz would say, look, they're going to wake him up. I remember at first it was Tuesday, and then it was Thursday, and then it was Saturday, and it got to Saturday afternoon, and she messaged me again and said, they're still not quite comfortable that they've got this right, and they're really worried that if they wake him up too early, it happens again, they're going to have to revive him again, and then they're going to have to go in through the neck with the tube, and it's going to get really bad. So now they're going to keep it till Monday morning. Then it went to Tuesday again. And this just went on and on and on. And I'm thinking, poor Josh, he's going to wake up and think that he's been in a 2-hour surgery and he's just woke up And that was our worry, myself and your family and those around you, that how are we going to explain to you that you've actually been out for nearly 10 days in an induced coma with no protein, with no anything, let alone any training or everything else, and then for you to accept that this might be too short of a time now to get ready for the Olympia, and what if you start having headaches again? What if your body's not ready? So let's go forward a little bit. They've woken you up, and even that they're worried about, because they're like, what if you start thrashing around? I think that's why they paralysed you in the induced coma, because if you started kicking those thighs and arms around, you might take out some nurses, orderlies, doctors.
Yeah, they had me on the highest dose, and even that, I'd still wake up slightly. And so it was definitely worrying. And then, being woken up out of the coma, it was, shocking, obviously. And my wife was heavily pregnant, about to give birth, so I was just asking her if I had the kid yet, and I was repeating myself because of all the, anaesthetic and drugs and stuff I'd been on. So, and then they told me that I might not be able to walk for a little bit, so that was also a big kick in the balls, unfortunately. So, and I thought I was standing up and walking, and I wasn't standing upright, so that took another couple of days until I could actually walk again. So the whole thing was like, really depressing, obviously, and there's a lot more worse off people than me. It was, it's just that the hopes of, doing the Olympia, having a good run, about to have a kid, and having these, battling headaches, and being on this medication post-operation, anti-seizure medication that my body didn't agree with, also really heavily affected me. So that was kind of,
well, I think that was,
I wanted to do the show still afterwards, and you advised me just take it off and have a good rest for next year.
Yeah, look, it got to the point, Josh, where you kept saying, look, I'm still training for this, and I think it was 6 weeks out. I said, mate, everyone else is already in shape. This is your chance. You would have been one of the favourites to possibly, because this year's Olympia, anyone could win.
Yeah, it's pretty open.
You're one of the guys that, is right there. And I didn't want you to go in there underdone. And it'd be good for your brand just to make an appearance and maybe place well. But I know how high you'd set the bar this year and what you wanted to do. And someone just had to make a call. And I thought, I'm just going to say, Josh, you're not doing an Olympia, because what if it harms your health and we go backwards again? By now, Liz has had the baby, and congratulations.
Yes, thank you.
Little son, William Lenartowicz. And, that's your contest right now. Let's just concentrate on that. So it was kind of a relief, I think, for both of us today, which was only 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, we had that call, and I said, Josh, just stop trying. Because you said you were going to the gym, you were trying to walk, you're getting heavy headaches and all the rest of it. And then on top of all of that, of course, when you got out from hospital, I think they sent you home for a weekend and then back in for another week of tests.
Because it's so rare, the tumour, so because I don't really understand it, it's they said it would help other people as well, so can you come back and have all these extra scans and stuff that they can understand it more, and because of that kind of pulled on my heartstrings as well, even though I had things to do and be with Liz, I thought that was the right thing to come back and do. Yeah,
it is, and it's important too that we explain this. We're not sugarcoating anything or trying to put a spin on anything. And, obviously it was hurtful at the time that, of course, the what do we call them, the keyboard warriors were jumping on board and saying, oh, Josh's kidneys have shut down, it's his bodybuilding life, so it must be his liver, or, he's done something crazy. And I didn't want to respond because it wasn't the time and place. I know you weren't in the mental state to respond properly and all this kind of thing. But I think we had to come out and explain this has got nothing to do with bodybuilding, nothing to do with training, nothing to do with supplements or medicines or anything else, but it was a genetic condition that you didn't know you had.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even that your contest prep or your bodybuilding brought it on, it was just this little time bomb in your head, which obviously runs in the family.
Yeah.
And the fact that your brother had it when he was 18 and had never done bodybuilding, and it was the same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
So
that's that's the confusing part, is that, why now? And I always get, as many tests as I can done, being, a heavier guy anyway. It's not great on, long-term health. But so I always get those things done, and that's what I asked the specialists and people that were looking after me in hospital, is it bodybuilding related? And they were like, we don't know what causes it at all. We don't know why. I'm like, how do I prevent them? They don't know how. And that's why more testing was done. So, that was the unfortunate thing, is normally it'd be like, if there's something you control, you can take care of, eating better and exercising and so on, then you can avoid a lot of things. But this is just, like I said, in the family, unfortunately. And kind of, it is really hurtful that, there's no great time for it. But, last year I had off being down and whatever with Dallas, and then the year before was Dallas. And it's kind of like every year there's been kind of something that set me back, and then I'm like, you know, why now and why me? And it has been incredibly depressing because, you know, I do love bodybuilding, and I was in a really good rhythm, and so that, it obviously hurt a lot what I've been through.
Yeah, I know it's been tough, and I know part of that for you, it's your love and affection for your fans, and not wanting to let anyone down. And I know when we first started to try and talk you through this, and to help you to make a decision, you just felt like you were letting your sponsors down, Black Skull and Doherty's Gym and Muscle Meals, all these guys that are in your corner. You said, but what are they all going to think? I said, I'm one of them, we just want you to be healthy, man, and your fans already love you, they're not going to turn on you. So I think that was really hard for you because of your sense of doing what's right, and the fact that finally you're having a good prep, because you've done very well really without ever having a perfect prep. And I think this goes to what we were talking about before, that everyone's going through something. You know, you see someone on stage or someone in a movie or someone, you know, where you look at them and think, oh, they're so successful, they're so funny, they're so happy. But we're all going through something.
For sure.
And that's what you had to go through this year. And I think it's just so important that you got on top of it and you got your health right, because it could have been a disaster if you hadn't had that checkup and gone in to have what you thought was almost like a little cyst at the time, but it's turned out to be a tumour. It's almost seeped into your brain.
Yeah.
And you know, thank God you got on top of it, Josh, because you've got your whole life ahead of you to do bodybuilding. This is your sport and your hobby, and you're one of the top pros in the world. But there'll be plenty more, man. There'll be plenty more opportunities.
And health's, you know, a big thing, and that's kind of the hard part. Is like I could have just pushed it aside and gone for the Olympia and dealt with the headaches, and I just don't think it's, you know, right long term, especially with the family. Just in general anyway, it's just not right. But like you said, going forwards, you know, next year will be a better year, and you know, it's not cancer, it was a benign tumour, and they don't spread into cancer from what they tell me. So I've had heaps of scans and scans done, you know, regularly, and everything's good. It's just been a huge setback.
And that's been it. And I know it's been really hard on your mind and your personality, your whole rhythm has been shaken by. But I think doing this interview is going to be really good for you to get the message out there, because no one really knows what's going on, you know.
No. Well, it's personal, and that's why I stood up when they said, is it your kidneys? And my family, my friends have already been through a lot, and I don't think that they need to see that online. And that's, I think, what is annoying is people think, oh, this will sell a story, and they'll put it out there, not knowing that all the people it might hurt in the process. Yeah, without getting the facts right.
And that's why we really wanted to do this today, just to say, look, we're not going to sugarcoat or pretend it's something it's not. It's been a really serious condition. It's been really hard watching you go through it, and I guess encouraging you to let go of this dream that was just coming together so perfectly. But you know, you have to do what's right. You have to do what's right for your health and for your family and for your fans, because no one would like to see you do yourself harm for a trophy or prize money or something else, mate. You've got everything ahead of you, and I know you inspire people everywhere. And I think if anything, you're going to gain even more fans just by doing the good stuff that you do, mate. You're one in a million, you know. And I say to people all the time that you're the role model that we need in bodybuilding, because you are a genuinely good person. You're not selfish, or you're not trying to hurt anyone else, and certainly not trying to sugarcoat things, as I said, but just to be honest and say, well, this is where we're at, and you guys deserve to know, you know. I think we managed pretty well to keep it in-house. And of course, when you're in a coma, this was the hardest thing for all of us, because I'm getting 100 messages a day, you know, what's up with Josh, had the operation, just say, oh, fine, just a couple of little setbacks, and it was such a relief to know that you're okay and everyone's through it. And I called, you know, the Olympia organisation, I called Jim Mannion and explained what was going on, and the other promoters, Bob Lorimer, and everyone around the world, so that we could say, look, this is the reason. It's not an excuse or not wanting to do the Olympia. This is the one Olympia I know you wanted more than anything. But mate, this is just a minor setback, and you've got lots to look forward to. And on that note, how's the fatherhood? How's the little guy? Huh?
It's really good. It's very challenging, and my wife's amazing. She does most of the work, and I'm just kind of in the corner helping out where I can and being there. So that's a really good positive part, and that's kind of you know, what I've been looking forward to now, and hopefully in the future it'll just can be there more for my son and our family. And it's just been a really tough time, you know, having to deal with the headaches and then the birth and then everything. And I don't have anywhere near as hard a job giving birth as what Liz had to, obviously, with what I've been through. So I'm just thankful that everything's worked out, and just, you know, I don't need to apologise, but I do want to apologise to people who are expecting me to do the Olympia, and so that's just a big setback, that's all.
Yeah, well, I think they'd accept your apology, but I don't think it's really required, Josh, because it's not something you did. It's just something that happened, and this is life, and this is why we want just to come on and tell the story and say, hey, this is life. There's going to be setbacks sometimes, but you've got to. It's how you get back up, It's how you deal with it and how you get back up. And mate, I know you'll get back, but my message to you, and I've said this privately and I'll say it publicly, is we just want you to get your health right. And I'm not going to ask you when's your next show, because that wouldn't be fair and it's just going to put you under more pressure. So what I prefer to ask, Josh, is, well, not prefer to ask, but suggest that just take your time getting back into the gym. You're still, you're still like the biggest guy in Australia, and you could probably still make a contest in 6 or 8 weeks if you had to, but put that aside for the minute, get your health right, get rid of the headaches and get off all the, the seizure medication, the stuff that you've had to have to get right, and then we'll reset and forward we'll go, and I'm sure, your sponsors and your fans and the people that are enjoying your journey will still be there, man, even more so. So I think that's really it.
Yeah, appreciate it, mate. And sorry to everyone for taking so long to reply about this. Everyone's been asking me questions. I've been keeping it a bit quiet in case something worse come about from it with the scans and stuff. But everything's been fine and great. And thanks for your support, everyone, for the messages and stuff I've received so far as well.
Yeah, well, we're going to put this up everywhere for everyone to see, and thank you all for watching. Much love and respect to the big fella. I think just. The start of something great. Your bodybuilding journey's just begun, mate, and it's all there in front of you. So, thanks for coming on.
Thank you, mate.
We love you.
Yeah, I love you too, mate.
Just look after your health, man, and we'll be back. All right.
Thanks.